Eden Story is actually a game on Facebook. So basically it's an islands building game where people will be able to build infrastructures through the ages, like starting from the Stone Age all the way to the Space Age. I personally would think the most part of the game is when players are able to experience for themselves, like when you get to each individual ages, the architecture, and from there maybe you can feel the culture of the different ages. And that to me is a very strong point, and which is something that we focus a lot on. Eden Story actually for us, right, is a pretty big project. It's actually one of our longest projects since we started Viwawa. I think it started, the whole conceptualization of the game started towards the end of last year. And we recently just had our alpha launch, and the game is probably going to be out on Facebook by the end of this month. So there's quite a lot of challenges because it's a pretty new and big project for us. It's the first time we delve into doing 3D modeling. So yeah, it's quite a fun ride. I think one of the challenges that we have initially is that we were deciding, when we come out with all those buildings, what is the best way we can we can have them out in. Initially we have our artists coming up with all the buildings in 2D, but sometimes midway through development we find that maybe it would be better if we have something that is 3D. The game might not be a 3D game, but at least the buildings, we want to make it more real, to really feel that the building is there. So that's why midway through we got to change all our models to being 3D. So that's quite a challenge, and because at that point of time we don't really have the expertise as well. So it's good that we are in GSC and we have accessibility to all the new technologies like Maya and stuff and all the trainings that goes on. So that is one of the challenge and one of the interesting things that we pick up along the way. We came up with the Eden Story basically what we wanted to do was something to do with buildings, like to do a build-up kind of game. And because we thought that it would be interesting if people will be able to go into history, because most of us, we see all the architecture around the world nowadays, and I think a lot of people are fascinated by them. But we don't really know, when's the origin, when did this building come from, and how did it all evolve to this point of time. So what we did is that we thought it would be interesting if we look at, from the Stone Age, and then slowly to the Bronze Age, the Iron Age, and all the way to, imagining the future, the Space Age, how it would be like. So that was something that spurs us and something that got on this idea. And since we are living on an island, we thought that it would be interesting as well to think that, if it all starts from an island, how are we going to mold the island, how are we going to shape the island, and having all the ages being reflected on just this tiny island over the ages. Yeah. Eden Story is different from other Facebook games in the sense that there's a lot of attention to the details of the buildings and the architecture, which is something that I think I have repeated many times because it's something that we really pay a lot of attention to be able to let people really experience the different periods in our history of mankind, in fact, since we begin all the way back from the Stone Age. Because in games we often see that all the buildings just come together. There is not much the characters of the building is very game-centric. But to we try to have the different ages, so it goes along with history, but yet at the same time, across the game, there is a consistency in the arts as well. So I think that's one unique point that we have. Talking about the future developments of Eden Story, right? In our first phase of launch, we will probably launch the game up till the Iron Age. So in the near future, we'll open up new ages like the Modern Age and the Space Age. So that's where we can come up with the expansions. The main draw of development in GSC is the whole atmosphere, because you have different studios here. We're working together for. I think most of us, we have some pride in coming up with products that belongs to Singapore. Right? So they are mostly, I assume they are all local companies here. And so to see that we are not alone in this industry, because when we were doing Viwawa, right, we felt pretty alone. We don't really see people coming back. Once it's GSC that brought us, the networking opportunities, we know that there are many, many people who are also interested in the game development future of Singapore. And so it's quite motivating. And yeah, it's quite inspiring as well to be able to see what are the things that people actually come up with, If I have a piece of advice for tenants is that, if they are given this opportunity, and I mean this opportunity is there, it would be good to take it up and give it a try, because it's really a very conducive environment for working, especially in the gaming industry, because the atmosphere here alone, is everybody working hard to come up with a product, and you get to see your neighbors, what they have done. And I guess that's kind of push you a bit as well, to up your quality. And yeah, so it's something that's interesting and good to explore, like, if there are people looking into games development, especially in Singapore. Well, Eden Story will be out coming October 2012, so do check it out on Facebook. It's going to be a great game.